I think mostly these scrap piles, these, that, a lot of the longer sticks, those will burn pretty well. I don't really know where to start with this. Who cares? I'm Joe. My shop is a little bit too big. I'm a one-man furniture shop and I put out a lot of work. I've been working at it for several years, building the shop up. I got way behind on deadlines, got way overstressed with that stuff and kind of decided to make a change. So I'm at the point where at the moment, I'm trying to negotiate my way out of my current lease, which runs for a couple more months. But today I shipped out the last 2 shipments of committed customers. And I have a delivery tomorrow, and that'll be kind of, for the most part, clean books. The active work that I have going on is going to be complete. So next week I'm going to come in and I'm going to start going through my stuff. So I thought I'd just give a tour of what it is right now. It's certainly not organized how I want it to, but over 18 months, I've been in here since July of 2021. Got a little dug in. Just, things get set aside, you have deadlines, you never really get to the projects you think you're going to get to for the shop. Let's go around the shop just a little bit. I should also say this shop is 2,100 or 2,200 square foot combined between a warehouse shop space and an office space, which I use for finishing, staging, veneering space, and storage, like some storage. So pieces, when they're kind of built and ready for finish, they can go in there. It's an amazing setup. This shop is too big for me to support, for me to feel unstressed, but it's like the perfect space that if I owned this, if it wasn't expensive, if it was in a better location, whatever, if I could walk to work, this would be pretty ideal. So keep that in mind, but I'm moving from this, say, 2,100 square foot space down to a 1.5 car garage, which is where I basically started this business. The idea of downsizing that much, that aggressively, is overwhelming at the moment. Basically 95% of the stuff that I have in the shop, I can't take into the garage. So we'll go through those dilemmas together. In this corner, there's a bunch of stuff. I'm not sure about this cabinet. I think I might be selling this cabinet. It's just too big. I really like the storage it offers, but even right now, I don't use it. If I do keep it, it'll probably be the miter saw stand. Panther rod has to come. I love it. I use it all the time. Drill press, very nice Powermatic drill press, for sure selling. I don't use a drill press nearly enough, and just the footprint that it takes up, it's not worth it. So it's a bunch of clamps. I'll probably keep all my clamps somehow. A bunch of hardware. I have stocked up with all the Bloom shortages. I stocked up on drawer slides. So I probably need to pare those back. I might be selling some of those. This cabinet, I built that in my old shop, so it's probably going to stay, but I might reconfigure it, might redo it. And then all of that stuff, some of it's usable, some of it's not. Just need to go through. One of the things I'll miss most, one of the best purchases I've made for this space is a huge assembly table. It's a work table too. It's 4 foot wide by I think 6.5 feet long or something. It's on the Craig workbench table, whatever frame. And it's just a surface. This could be anything, but the fact that it has casters and can roll around, and when it's locked down, it's pretty sturdy. I love it. So this is the thing that I'm going to regret most of moving into the smaller shop. I just know. A bunch of stuff on here, like this just work. This drum sander, it works, it's functional. I've had it since I started veneering work. Yeah, it takes up a footprint that, when you do veneer work, you have to have a drum sander. So this is a tool that I'd like to upgrade, not to a bigger model necessarily, just to a nicer model that maybe holds settings a little bit better. So that might be a seller. This shelf would take up 1/3 of the space. It's such a nice storage shelf, but it literally holds scrap right now. That's probably going. Quick note, as I'm editing this, at one point in this video, I got confused about what going means. So it could mean it's going into the new shop. It could also mean it's going out of this shop and into somebody else's home. So it's up for interpretation what anyone going means. All right, back to the video. So all of these things that I'm considering selling, if you're in the Portland area, I'll try to update what's going to be coming out. The ShopFox air filter, I haven't really used it too much in this space. Needs more filters, but I'm probably selling that. Another corner of the shop, That workbench was one of the first things, maybe the first thing that I'll credit myself with building ever. It was the workbench that I built when I still lived in Missoula, Montana, before I had tools, before I did furniture or anything. I just knew I needed a work surface, so I built it off of plans. I think that were from Fine Woodworking's website. I think it's still, to date, the only thing that I ever used plans for. Lisa Christiana had a video series where he showed how to build that, I'm pretty sure. Put a vise on it a few years later, got hold downs on it. Now it has like kind of a sacrificial top on it. It just holds stuff. But that, I mean, honestly, that's probably going into my new space as, you know, just the anchor, having a way to hold work, and might do the top. All that stuff might be future projects. So excited to potentially upgrade that someday. The plane till up there, it's just basic shelves and stuff. That's probably going to. Stuff like this where I throw shelves together from scrap or just off-cut pieces, I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I think it could go, but I don't want to take too much stuff in and get too tied into the storage of the past, and I kind of want to create a new thing with a new space. MFT table. I had this in the original garage shop. Might be getting rid of it. I'm not sure. But I'm definitely going to take a lot of the routers, all the Festool stuff. The Tormek is definitely coming. I kind of love that, especially wanting to do more hand tool stuff. And then the bandsaw is a big, I don't know, not sure. Not sure if I should take that or not. I need a bandsaw. This one I bought and it was in, you know, semi rough shape. I needed to like replace some parts and stuff. And I got it to work like all of the shop sawn veneer I've ever used, minus a few things that I've had cut at like a more commercial shop, has been on this bandsaw. So it's very capable. It's rather large. It's larger than I need. It has the right power for what I do. If I sold it, I'd be upgrading to another bandsaw that just maybe is just a little bit nicer for resawing, because that's what I use it mostly for. I'm definitely going to get rid of the mechanics cart. I'm probably going to get rid of this because if you've ever gotten one of the roller stands from Harbor Freight, they work fine, but they also sometimes fall over. And I think that one also is not adjustable anymore because the screws strip out super easily. The cornerstone of the shop, the basketball hoop, that's definitely coming. Right now I have 2 table saws. This saw, I love this saw, not necessarily because of its function, just because of nostalgia, maybe. It's a Powermatic from like 1979, 1980. So this one, unfortunately, I think I probably have to sell, because the other saw is a 3 horsepower saw stop. It probably just makes more sense to use the saw stop. Has a little bit better dust collection than the Powermatic, which the Powermatic has no dust collection. So that's saying something about that model of saw stop. If there's a new model that has better dust collection, I'll leave my contact me, I guess. I don't know. Big dilemma I have over here. Not really dilemma. It's kind of tough to talk off the hip on all this stuff, but I really love the Festool miter saw, and this just like kind of haphazard cabinet that I put together. This all works fine. It just collects stuff. So I definitely don't have room for a setup this big. So I'm thinking about building a miter deck or something where you have a little bit more compact wings, which is basically what those are. I'll figure something out to fit it in. But yeah, I never had a miter saw in my old shop, so that'll be the space that's kind of required for that. I don't know. I'm not sure. That's one of the things I'm trying to figure out. Finally, down at the milling end of the shop, the router table probably has to come with for now. I'm not happy with the cabinet. I built the cabinet. It's a steel top. I can't remember the brand. It has an Incra router lift. So I might improve the cabinet. I might rebuild the cabinet. It's a decent amount of storage, but I also might look into putting the router table into the table saw, because that's a huge space saver if I can figure it out. But even having a full-size table saw in the garage that I'm going to have, I did it before. It worked out okay, but that's still a huge unknown of like how I'm going to set that up, because there were things that I like in hindsight would change about the first setup in my garage. My favorite tool that I've bought, I think maybe ever, is the 12-inch Grizzly jointer. I bought it used, but it was in great shape. I haven't even rotated the cutters, and they're still on the original side. Unfortunately, it's just too big, so that's one of the tools that I'm going to be selling. I actually even improved the dust collection. I always meant to improve it even more, but it works so well as it is. I put just a put magnets into a piece of Baltic birch so that the dust chute goes straight off, as opposed to, it used to have a dust chute that turned it 90 degrees and did a terrible job of collecting the chips. The other tool that I'm going to kind of miss a lot. Note also that this is like right after I got some orders out today, so scrap wood everywhere. The 20-inch Powermatic planer with helical head, I'm definitely going to have to sell that too, because that would take up such a massive footprint. But this combined with that jointer is just like ideal. Maybe a 16-inch jointer would be nice. I haven't run into much that I really want to do over 12 inches. It's just great. And then the 20-inch capacity on this, again, there's not a whole lot over 20 inches that I really want to plane. So that's something I'm kind of sorting through for the next setup that I have. I know that 12 inches for a planer is too small. I had like the 13-inch DeWalt when I was in my garage shop before, but I'm hoping to figure something out, maybe a combo machine or something. If you have ideas of what works best in that small of a shop, let me know, because right now I'm considering anything from like a combo machine, probably like a 12-inch hammer or something like that, to just a jointer, like 8-inch jointer and walt planer again, I guess. I don't know. One of the last big tools that I'm going to be getting rid of is the Clearview CV Max. It works great. All of the ducting is 8-inch except for the drops are 6 inches. So all that's going to be going. If you're in the Portland area or want to drive to Portland, that'll be going. And then maybe the most, what's the word? Maybe the most intimidating thing that I'm going to have to go through and reckon with is the solid wood, the plywood, and then all of the offcuts. All of this is mostly scrap, garbage, stuff to give away, stuff to sell. And then just all of this like kind of random stuff. Like I've got some western walnut, I've got some poplar, I've got a little bit of maple left, I've got some eastern walnut. That's a little bit of a tour of what I'm going through. Oh, I also have a pallet jack. I'm gonna be selling that. You see a lot of people like going from a small shop to a big shop. That's what I've done. And you don't see a whole lot of people go the opposite way then, or want to broadcast that. And I'm very happy. I'm very excited about getting out of the shop. I don't see it as a failure. It's like fully my choice to stop living on deadline, stop living stressed out. And I'm pretty excited about the next iteration of this. You know, I don't fully know what that entails, but I have some plans, some ideas, and part of it involves sharing a lot more of my day-to-day. So we'll see how that goes. I'd like to show the transition from, and the decision-making that goes into going from this space to a smaller space. I'll show the office real quick too. It's Friday afternoon. I gotta get out of here. I have a permanently set up, it's a 4x6 vacuum bag. So the vacuum can be set up to run anytime. Some work surface over there, a work surface here. This was my veneering surface, so I could clear it off to have panels to glue up and then transfer them into the bag. So nice to have this space. But then also it functions as, you know, a place to finish, and I have a little finishing rack over here. But that was just based on my buddy's design of wall system, and then I kind of designed the arms. Like that's a typical like painter's arms, I don't know what they even call. And then just, you know, some random veneer. I have a bunch of veneer that's commercially sawn, stuff that I didn't make that I'm gonna probably be selling. This is the last piece that I'm going to be delivering tomorrow. There's all the bloom stuff. This is an extra bed that I'll be selling. I just made an extra maple bed in a run last year, and I just didn't ever complete the footboard. So that's the last piece that I need to put together. I'm just kind of waiting back on news about the lease. I'm moving out in the next few months. It could be in the next 6 weeks. So it's just kind of a limbo area, but after getting those orders out and having this one ready to go, it's just this kind of like very exciting point where I don't know exactly how it's going to work out, but I know the direction I've headed. I know what I'm doing overall. So yeah, good bow tie to put on the end of the episode. Speaking about a week later, I thought that I had somebody potentially lined up to take over the lease starting the end of March, which would lead me to moving and getting out of here in kind of a nice, tidy way. They fell through. So if you need shop space in Clackamas, Oregon, I know of a space. It's available immediately-ish, but in all honesty, it's fine. I'm going to take advantage of the space while I can, build some pieces, do some video. Yeah, so this will be a multi-part series apparently.